Hey, true believers, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video, and continuing on with the MCU materials on Disney Plus. You know the drill. Yes. So, that's right, guys. We have now come to the third, and sadly, last season of Marvel's What If. Yes. The third and final season. Here we are now. I'm about to do my review on it. My part 1 review. And just like what I've done before with the first 2 seasons. Yes, so part 1 of my review of season 3 of Marvel's What If, episodes 1, 2, and 3. Yes. Now, the first things I have to say, and with the first 3 episodes of season 3 of What If, and with the 3 episodes, the start of the third and final season, well, yeah, because this was a pretty good start to the third and last season of What If. Now, I'm sure for a lot of us, especially me, maybe some of you, but, still, there are a lot of those that really have come to enjoy this piece of MCU material, and with its animation style, all of that. So, yeah, because with the first 2 seasons of What If, they were really good. I had some pretty good favorite episodes, and that I did mention, of course. And with what happened and what went on in the first 2 seasons, and, because of what happened towards the end of each of those first 2 seasons, and, teasing of what was to come next, and, yeah, up to, say, season 2, and that, yeah, not long after season 2, we would be getting a 3rd season, and when it was ultimately announced that it would be its last. Yeah. But, obviously, with what season 3 had left and stored was worth it. Yeah. So with the first 3 episodes that start off the 3rd/last season of What If, yeah, because I really enjoyed them. Each of these first 3 episodes of season 3, the stories that they have to offer, and some more new faces that step in to the world of What If. And especially because a few, a good chunk, of course, whom we have been seeing, most prominently, from some of the MCU materials on Disney Plus and all that, starting to see them step their way into What If, and, even a good chunk of them getting their own stories, and with what's to, what it has to offer in season 3. You get my point. Yeah. And I have, already, because I have a favorite of these 3 episodes. I'll go ahead and say it. It's episode 3, but until I get to episode 3. But yeah, just overall, the first 3 episodes for season 3 of Marvel Studios' What If did not disappoint for me. A good start so far. Yeah, okay. So, with the first things I've had to say about the first 3 episodes, and with season 3 of What If so far, etc., yeah, with all that out of the way now, let us dive in / break down the episodes themselves, shall we? Of course, starting with episode 1, What If the Hulk Fought the Mech Avengers? With a question mark, yeah. What if the Hulk fought the Mech Avengers? Okay, description / the story. Massive monsters emerge after a Gamma incident threatening humanity. As the Avengers struggle, new heroes rise to battle the creatures using advanced mech suits. Sam Wilson forms an unexpected bond with Bruce Banner amid the chaos. Okay, so with what goes on in the first episode / season opener, the opener for season 3 of What If, yes. What if the Hulk fought the Mech Avengers? This episode's centering on most prominently Bruce Banner, but also Sam Wilson, aka the Falcon, now the new Captain America. And in this universe, Bruce and Sam are very close friends. You know, even when we get the opening to this episode, and when we first see Banner and Wilson doing that thing, just like what we saw at the start of Winter Soldier, the on your left thing. Yeah, however, this time it's Sam saying on your left and running fast while Banner is struggling. And it doesn't take too long for them to form a friendship and such, and Sam being well aware, of course, of what Banner's like, and becoming the Hulk and all that. And even when Sam attempts, he tries his very best to help out Bruce on account of whenever, like, say, you know, the Hulk would show itself and the rage and all that. And Banner go into therapy sessions, which are hosted by Sam, all of that. But at one point, and when it was recommended by Sam that, Bruce accompany him because they go out on this boat out in the middle of the ocean, which, yeah, seems quite relaxing for Banner. Well, something goes wrong on the ship where, a piece of equipment, moves, and on account of the boat rocking and such, and Banner gets Sam and the others out of the way, and he takes the hit. And because of that, it causes Banner to go in complete rage. The Hawk unleashes, and, he just, smashes on the boat. Luckily, it didn't really do any damage to the boat, specifically. And Sam trying to call out to Banner to calm down and so on. But, Banner, being in the Hawk, can see that, he's he did something wrong. I mean, not really. And, well, Banner, as the Hawk, he jumps into the sky, because that big, powerful jump the Hawk can do, yeah, he just leaves out of there. He just gets out of there right away. And, well, that's when Banner would attempt to cure himself of what went wrong when the Hawk emerged and such. And, creating a massive, uncontrollable, and because of this, well, by basically, when he tries to cure himself, it goes completely wrong. And this causes creating a massive, uncontrollable monster called the Apex. And I'm sure you guys are well aware of that. And obviously, the Apex, it comes from the comics. And yeah, the Apex, who unleashes a horde of Gamma Beasts. And because of this, well, these Gamma Beasts, led by the Apex, they unleash mayhem and, doomsday and such on, the Earth. And, well, of course, it's up to the Avengers to step in. And by making these mech suits, these giant robotic suits for them to use, definitely going in that territory like, say, Pacific Rim or Voltron. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Because, especially Pacific Rim, where in those movies, you have giant robotic mech suits going up against monsters. So, same thing is happening with this. Nice. Unfortunately, the first group of Avengers, from Steve, Tony, Natasha, you get my point, yeah, them. Unfortunately, they lost the fight to the Gamma Beasts, and they end up being killed, and thus the new faces of the Avengers who would step in, and with the mech suits, they would step in and, take on the Gamma Bots, and at some point, they managed to succeed, and fast forward 10 years later, well, even though it seems as though they did defeat, the Gamma Beasts and supposedly Apex altogether, well, it's not quite finished yet because there's no way that this would be the entire end of all this. Oh, and by the way, because one of the other openings to this episode, well, is where we get classic Avengers cartoon and with an announcer and seeing the Avengers in those mech suits taking on those Gamma monsters. And, frequency when a girl is watching this, goes haywire, and that's because of the actual Gamma monsters outside, the Gamma Beasts. Okay, but also, to mention the voice cast, yes, of course, because, obviously, Mark Ruffalo coming back as Bruce Banner, of course, Anthony Mackie, Sam Wilson, and, with the entirety of What If itself, The Watcher, Jeffrey Wright, of course. And And the characters that appear in this episode, the last remaining members of the Avengers. Well, we have Bucky Barnes, of course, and of course, Sebastian Stan, the Red Guardian, Alexia, you know who I'm talking about, of course, yeah, David Harbour, and Melina's there, but it's not Rachel Weisz, it's Kari Walgreen. But, I mean, yeah, because Kari Walgreen, a fantastic voice actress, did very well voicing Melina for this episode. Shang-Chi is there, and of course it's Simu Liu, you know, and Moon Knight is there. That's awesome. Great to see Moon Knight be a part of the Avengers. But in this universe, not in the main universe of the Avengers yet, Moon Knight, of course, once again, being voiced by Oscar Isaac. Of course it would be him. So yeah, again, great to see that Moon Knight is there. Also, Nakia, yeah, from Wakanda, she's there too. Not voiced by What's-Her-Face, but instead, she's voiced by Brittany Adibumio, if I even got her full name right. But yeah, again, you know me sometimes. And also, Monica. Monica being there too, and Monica, once again, being voiced by Teyonah Parris. Yeah, that's her. So, they're all that's left of the Avengers and so on, and with the use of the mech suits and all that, and, well, because, you know, they're discussing on what they're gonna do next, and yeah, the battle's really not over, and there's something out there that they're missing and such, and even Monica, you know, recommends this, that maybe they should get help from Bruce, but Sam, he just dodges that whole thing, like, because after what happened 10 years ago, you know, Bruce just disappeared, and, you know, to Sam, it just tore apart his and Banner's friendship and all that. And Monica, well, she's determined that, you know, they must find Banner and to hopefully get help from him. And when Monica secretly gets some help from Bucky to track down / locate wherever Bruce is in the world, yeah. Meanwhile, because, yeah, Monica and Sam, they at one point go to an icy place, you know, where, yeah, they would discover that the Apex, it rises as well as the Gamma Beasts, and they try to take them on, but, you know, sadly, they're outmaneuvered, and, yeah, they're really no match for them. And that's when, yeah, Monica comes clean towards Sam that, you know, come on, we need to get Banner's help. And, you know, Sam's still refusing this, but that's when Monica would reveal that she secretly, and behind Sam's back, you know, was speaking with Bucky, and the same goes for Bucky, doing all this behind Sam's back to locate and find Bruce, and, well, Sam should go there to talk with him and so on, which that's what Sam does. Where Bruce has been hiding all this time is on this abandoned, deserted island, you know, and yeah, so that's where Sam finds him, and, well, I mean, the chemistry between them right here after all these years seems to kind of go okay so far, and, man, this island, you know, it has some military equipment and a base and all that, and a nuclear gamma bomb and so on, in a plane, just, yeah. So, this is where Bruce has been hiding all this time, and, well, Sam would inform Bruce on what all is happening currently, and they need his help, but Bruce, he wants no part of this. But this is the end of the world we're talking about, as Sam says, but, you know, because after all that happened to Bruce, and, you know, it wasn't his fault, you know, he can't take the responsibility or all of that. It's not his fault. Where, yeah, because he accidentally unleashed Apex. But, yeah, it was nothing intentional, of course. Because, yeah, what he was hoping to do, unfortunately, went wrong to try to get rid of the Hulk that's inside of him, the Gamma Beast, which being Hulk, of course. But, you know, Sam trying his best to convince Bruce, you know, and not viewing Bruce as a monster. That's a very important thing that Sam says to Bruce. He doesn't see a monster. He sees a friend, which, of course, being Bruce. He's nothing at all being a monster, you know? And that's true. But Bruce, I mean, still wanting no part of this. However, he actually does help some in a different way. And he hands this chip to Sam, and Sam's a bit surprised, like, what the heck is this? But yeah, it'll be important for him to use, and on account of the other Avengers, and with the mech suits, yeah. And basically, it's called the Mighty Avenger Protocol, which was originally intended to, in order to defeat the Hulk and such, just in case, yeah. So, by using the Mighty Avenger Protocol, it combines the Avengers' mega suits into one, making it a very powerful one mega suit, mecha suit, I should say. Definitely, like, going in that, like, kind of like in that same territory as, like, say, Power Rangers, wouldn't you say? Because I do recall there have been times where the mecha suits that the Power Rangers use, it can be used as one, with all of them together. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, it's true. So, yeah, that's a good comparison there. But, yeah, and when the battle begins, taking on Apex and the Gamma Beasts, and by doing the Mighty Avenger Protocol, well, that has no effect, unfortunately. It does not work on Apex, because Apex, along with the Gamma Beasts, too powerful. Just still too powerful for even, with the Mighty Avenger Protocol having not worked at all. But that is until, and I think it's obvious that this was bound to happen, right? That, yes, Banner does eventually step in himself to, help out his fellow Avengers and to save the day. Coming in that plane, and by using a Gamma Bomb to become a Godzilla-like Mega Hawk, basically. Yeah, because he pretty much does look like one when he becomes that. And, for once, he's not afraid. I mean, and that's the thing, because for a while he was afraid of himself, and on account of people being afraid of him as the Hawk. But for once, and that he knows he's taking a really big risk with using the Gamma Bomb and such, this time, he ain't afraid. And that's good on him. And by using that Gamma Bomb, becoming a Mega Hawk Godzilla-like creature, all that, well, that's when he would take on Apex. And the thing is, even the members of the Avengers, they realize this, that the Gamma Beasts, they're just sitting there observing and watching the fight between Apex and Banner. Well, that's because whomever is going to be beaten down, then the Mega Beasts will follow one of them. So that means, and with figuring this out, that, oh my gosh, that if Banner is able to take down the Apex, then they'll follow him. And in a good way. Just, obviously. But eventually, yes, Banner, who is now a Godzilla-like Mega Hawk, manages to defeat and take down Apex, and now the Gamma Beasts follow him now. And Sam, he went up to Banner just to make sure if anything was about to happen, because, and by looking at him in the eye, because, man, that close-up shot of Banner's eye as the Mega Hawk, oh my gosh. And even in animation, oh my gosh, that was amazing. Because, and again, Sam, speaking to Banner, that he doesn't see a monster, he sees a friend, and so on. And, well, because after that, Banner, he then leaves, and with the Gamma Beasts following him, and, well, because, again, now they're under his leadership, and the nightmares are over, the battle has ended, and all has ended well, And, because one of the last things we see, and along with, the closing narration from the Watcher, we see that the Gamma Beasts, under the leadership of Mega Hawk, now living on the same abandoned island that Banner had been living all these 10 years. A new era begins in that universe, and with what Banner's gonna do next. Man. What a heck of a way for this being the first episode of Season 3, right? Just, this was a really good one. Overall, Episode 1, the opener to Season 3 of What If. What if the Hulk fought the Mech Avengers? It was a great start, in my opinion, and I'm sure you guys felt the same way too. with what this episode had to offer, with it focusing most prominently on Bruce Banner along with Sam Wilson, the other members of the Avengers we get from, say, Red Ghost, the Red Guardian, sorry, Red Ghost. Red Ghost is the villain from Fantastic Four. I don't want to get my Reds mixed up. Or Red Skull, duh. The Red Guardian. From Red Guardian to Shang-Chi, Moonlight, yeah, that was really awesome. And of course with Monica and Bucky, everybody that appeared in this episode. The last surviving members of the Avengers, seeing the mech suits of the Avengers was awesome. The Apex, the Gamma Beasts, the Godzilla-like Mega Hawk, just everything that this episode had to offer. The first episode / season opener of the third and final season of Marvel's What If did not disappoint. It was really good. Okay, next up, we have episode 2, What If Agatha Went to Hollywood? Description / the story. In 1930s Hollywood, a rising starlet manipulates a wealthy industrialist to fund her film, secretly planning a world-altering ritual. An unlikely hero emerges from Bollywood to thwart her mystical scheme and save reality as we know it. Okay, so in episode 2, where in this one, it centers entirely, most prominently, on Agatha Harkness herself. And yep, Agatha Harkness, once again, being voiced by good old Kathryn Hahn. Well, because, yeah, again, in the 1930s, we see Agatha as a movie star / actress whom is starring in a film that is being directed by Howard Stark, and he has his own Stark Pictures. Yeah. And, Dominic Cooper, once again, voicing Howard Stark, young Howard Stark, that is. And also, Edwin Jarvis being there, too. James D'Arcy, if I said that right. Voicing Jarvis. And whom, is Jarvis from, say, Agent Carter, the Agent Carter series, and also making a cameo appearance in Endgame. Yeah, in the 70s, where they travel to the 1970s to collect one of the Infinity Stones. Yeah, he's there. So yeah, good to see that, yeah, rightfully so, that he also reprising the role of Jarvis in animation. Yeah. So, again, because Agatha, being a Hollywood actress and working under the direction of Howard Stark, and, Howard, he doesn't really suspect anything from Agatha. And with what Agatha is planning to do, and with her being a actress, is to, however she's going to do it, she plans to enact a magical ritual to Symphione, yes, I think I pronounced it right, yeah. The power of a celestial by the name of Tiamat. Yes, I'm sure we all recall Tiamat. Whom, by the way, Tiamat, residing in the Earth's main core. And basically, to go ahead and mention this, because Agatha, she had been stealing all of the powers from the Eternals, and there's one more left for her to gain the powers, all of that, and thus she can proceed with what she's going to do, evilness and all of that. And she points out to Howard that maybe it should be considered on hiring and bringing on board with this movie that Howard's directing, and Agatha being the main star of it, bring in Bollywood actor Kingo. Yes, and yep, Kingo, whom appears in this episode, and once again being played / voiced by Kumal Niyani, if I got his full name right. But we know who it is. We love him. He's a really good actor. Yeah, and he was... Is it me, or don't you feel as though that he was very enjoyable in Eternals itself? Like, say what you will about the Eternals, and if you want to go check out my review on it, I was positive on the Eternals. I didn't think it was that bad. But obviously, Kumal, who plays Kingo, come on, he was probably one of the outstanding, performances to come from the Eternals, right? I'm just simply saying, but it's great to see that out of all the Eternals, we get to see him again. Yeah, because he was, he's the best one of the Eternals, basically. Our favorite, I'm sure for a lot of us, one of our favorite members of the Eternals. But anyways, So again, with Agatha suggesting that he should come on board to be a part of this movie that Howard's directing, and Howard, I mean, he goes along with it pretty well. Again, not really suspecting anything whatsoever towards Agatha, but until very later, of course. Yeah. So it wouldn't take too long for Kingo to be called up, make his way to Hollywoodland, and at the time that it was once called Hollywoodland, especially the sign of Hollywood. It used to have land to it. Yeah. So yeah, Kingo would arrive very soon. Would arrive soon. Yeah. And well, because Kingo would be more happy to be a part of this, and well, with what would happen next, when we see, Kingo about to perform and, film his sequence with Agatha, it's a big dance number. And, man, because that dance number, all that happens throughout that dance number, it's just, man, it's pretty cool. Because, yeah, especially, it wouldn't take too long between, say, Agatha and Kingo especially Kingo, to really know what's going on and whom Agatha is, and learning what Agatha has done and all that, and what she seeks from Kingo, take his powers and all that. But for Howard, I mean, he's having a ball, because with all that's going on, them filming this dance number, even say when things kind of go a bit out of hand, when each Agatha and Kingo, they use their powers on one another, but Howard, he's completely, totally unfazed by it. He thinks it's amazing, just, has it be a part of filming, just, yeah, thinking that it's a nice touch to this sequence, But Jarvis, poor Jarvis, because he's not really sure about this. But, yeah, just overall, that dance number, them filming that dance number, and when things are getting a bit out of hand, even when, shooting from the rooftop of the sound stage, it just, ugh. But, again, Howard, he loves every minute of it, and just having it be a part of filming, and, yeah, once, cut, yeah, to Howard, it all turned out great. But, of course, it's not over yet, especially towards Agatha and Kingo. Yeah, because right after filming, and when Howard mentions that there will be a party held at a house on top of the mountain where the Hollywoodland sign is and such, yeah, there's a moment between Agatha and Kingo where, yeah, Kingo knows what Agatha's up to and so on, and what she plans to do, and, having stolen the powers from the Eternals, locking them up and such. Not that they're dead, they just, she's locked them up in a special place and all that. She assured that to Kingo that, they're safe and sound, at least for now. But, Agatha, she tricks Kingo into thinking that what she's doing is something good and wanting to save the world. And Kingo, he falls for this. So he agrees with Agatha to give up his powers along with the Celestial that's buried in the Earth's core. Yeah. Well, and this would alert another Celestial, the main Celestial himself from Eternals, Arishem. Yeah, I think I said that right, yeah. And Arishem, once again, being voiced by David Kaye, who voiced him in Eternals, of course. So yeah, so that's two cast members from the movie Eternals that have come back for a new piece of MCU material. Nice to see, yeah. Well, not to mention that, because all is not forgotten with the Eternals, their presence in the MCU, because, did you see Captain America Brave New World? But that's another story. I just thought I'd point that out, because it's true! Anyways, so, the party being held, where, yeah, Howard's hosting and such, and, well, Agatha and Kingo, they would show up, and, well, they would mention to Howard on filming the next sequence and such, but unfortunately not at the soundstage, but at another piece of property across from the property that they're on. And doesn't take too long for Howard to like this and to acquire it and to paint it exactly as it was on the soundstage, all that. And yeah, so that's what they do. With Howard, Agatha, Kingo, and Jarvis all being there, and thus they would proceed on filming it. And, well, not to mention by this point, Howard, he knew Agatha whom she really was, and the same goes for Kingo. Even when Kingo summons the spaceship that we see in the Eternals, you know? It's really cool to see that again. And, I mean, Jarvis, he was surprised by it, but Howard? Not really, because Howard is Howard Stark, of course. He knows everything. Yeah, being well aware of all that happens and him being there from the start. You know, ever since, well, Captain America. You get my point. Yeah. So anyways, so they would proceed on filming this, and where, yeah, the ritual begins, and, yeah, Kingo would give up his powers, Agatha would require it, along with the celestial that's, you know, in the Earth's core and such. And with all this happening, this would, of course, get the attention some more of Arishem, yeah, showing up to Earth, and by this point, Agatha, she's become a Celestial herself, and when, of course, Kingo would realize that, yeah, all along, you know, she lied to what she was going to be doing. Not saving the day, but doing evilness. And can't forget to mention that Kingo broke his word to Arishem about keeping the Celestial, you know, what's-in-face, buried in the core. So, yeah, he broke that promise. So, yeah, then eventually, you know, when Agatha becomes more big and a Celestial of her own, and, you know, she's glamorous and beautiful, really glowing purple, because, yeah, purple being her main color, of course, and everyone around the world witnessing this, and Howard, he just has this still being filmed, you know, just keep rolling camera, and he even makes a comment that this footage will piss off Cecil B. DeMille, whom Cecil B. DeMille being the director of The Ten Commandments, the silent film from the 1920s and the one from the 1950s with Charlton Heston. Yes, him. A famous legendary director himself. I'm sure some of you probably know that, but anyways. So yeah, that was a nice reference to Cecil B. DeMille. Maybe it would piss him off, just anyways. But obviously, yeah, that was more of a joke, but yeah. Anyways, so, with, you know, Howard and Jarvis still proceeding on filming this, but yeah. Then, of course, Arishem would show up, and yeah, because a confrontation between Agatha and Arishem, but in the end, Agatha manages to defeat him, but yeah, and well, she's gonna still proceed with what she's going to do, but somehow, Kingo, he manages to stop and have Agatha listen to him, just for her to put away all that she was going to be doing, being a Celestial herself, doing evilness and all that, give up all of that, and being in the acting business like he is, and, well, something good will come out of that for her and all that, and she actually does accept this. Yeah, she does listen, and yeah, she technically is redeemed, and yeah, that's what she does. And the aftermath, and as the episode almost comes to an end, we see that they attend to the premiere of the movie that they had just completed, Cosmic Queens, and yeah. And however, Kingo does mention to Agatha, you know, wonders that with the Eternals now free and they're alive and well, the other Eternals, and along with him, being worried that because of Arishem's defeat and all of that, with what Agatha did at first, this will draw the attention of other Celestials and with them coming to Earth. But Agatha assures Kingo that it should be all good, like there's nothing really to worry about. Or maybe, because it's really hard to tell, even with how the episode ends off with the Watcher. Yeah. Well, anyways, but yeah, that was a nice way to end it off, and kind of leaving off on a cliffhanger. Just, yeah, like, well, are you sure that this wouldn't draw the attentions of other Celestials? Probably, but yeah, anyways. Okay, but just, yeah. Episode 2 of What If? What if Agatha went to Hollywood? Yeah. Again, just another good episode to the start of Season 3, with what Episode 2 had to offer. That was all about Agatha, and with the addition of the Eternals, more piece of Eternals that we get in the MCU, and in this, Howard Stark and Jarvis making an appearance, the time and setting of this episode, and with the Celestials, Arishem, all of that, just, yeah, that was really awesome. I really enjoyed this episode. It was another good one, in my opinion. Okay, here we go, guys. Episode 3, and yep, the third and last episode for my Part 1 review of Season 3 of What If. Yeah, so, Episode 3, What If the Red Guardian stopped the Winter Soldier? Description / the story. 2 Soviet agents from Russia, the Red Guardian and Winter Soldier, botch a 1991 mission to eliminate the Starks. Facing consequences, they flee their handlers and S.H.I.E.L.D., becoming unlikely allies in a dangerous game of survival and evasion. Yeah. And remember what I said earlier? Yeah. Episode 3. The first of the three, the third of the first 3 episodes is, I'd say one of my favorites. It is, because, So, overall, this being my favorite of the first 3 episodes of Season 3 of What If. Yeah. Alright, so, in Episode 3, set in 1991, well, Alexei Shostakov, the Red Guardian, that's him, once again being voiced by David Harbour, of course, is hired to, track down the Starks on account of the super soldier serum. Yeah, but not just him, but Bucky Barnes as well. Because General Drakov, being there and telling him all this and such, but overall, because the Red Guardian would find his way to, go to that location, in the middle of the road at nighttime, and as we saw in the events of Civil War, and when it was revealed how Tony's parents die, it was done by Bucky. Not really, because he was under mind control. Well, in this universe, the Red Guardian stops / prevents Bucky from killing the Starks, but still acquiring the serum. That's all that really needed to be done. It was really it was not really necessary to kill the Starks. And of course, Bucky Barnes / the Winter Soldier, Sebastian Stan, And, besides, Thunderbolts, in this, it's amazing, because, a lot more chemistry that we get from, just say, the Red Guardian and Bucky Barnes. And in this case, because, Bucky is the Winter Soldier, complete opposite from who he really is, And so, again, the Red Guardian, good on him, preventing the Winter Soldier from killing the Starks, but still managing to collect not all of the Super Soldier serum, but just a sample of it. And, and by this point, they make a run for it, and, they form an alliance, and now with, reinforcements on their tail, and one of them from S.H.I.E.L.D. being Bill Foster, whom we saw in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and, of course, good old Lawrence Fishburne reprising the voice role of Bill Foster. Also, Bill Foster going by Goliath, in his, superhero getup and such, with the Ant-Man technology. And it's not just Bill, but also Ranger Morales, if I said her name right, being voiced by the good, talented American Ferrera. So her being there, and I could have sworn, because I was like, that voice does sound familiar, and how did I not realize that it was America herself? A fine addition to the MCU, of course. Anyways, so we have the Ranger and Bill teaming up, and, to track down with what's happened and all that, eventually, because they'll find the Red Guardian and the Winter Soldier. But meanwhile, because, with the Red Guardian and the Winter Soldier undercover, and the Red Guardian trying to, at times, blend in with, America, and trying to do an American accent. I mean, he's quite good at it, but he just doesn't really have it in him at first, acting properly as an American citizen and all that. Even when, say, they're at a hot dog stand, they get some, some grub and just Oh, it was funny. Yeah, and of course, not to mention the Red Guardian having his own shield like Captain America does. Nice, with the star. So with what they're going to do next, they're actually going to meet with this spy who goes by the name Rook in order to get some transportation. And where they're going to find this spy named Rook is at Viva Las Vegas. Yep. So thus that's where they're going to go, and, well, they get some transportation by stealing some guy's car when he comes in to the food stand. Yep, so they take it, and, well, at one point they do come face-to-face with the reinforcements, Bill Foster most prominently, because, you know, they're stuck where they're holding traffic, and when Bill turns his attention to them, he doesn't recognize them at first, and, well, Red Guardian's trying his best, as well as the Winter Soldier, because of what, you know, what they're doing, that they're going to be meeting their sister. They're pretending to be brothers, meeting her on account of her birthday and the birthday gifts they got for her. You know, the Red Guardian says television. The Winter Soldier says sweater. But in the back of the car, Bill notices a little bit of, and it's showing from a sheet, the Red Guardian's shield, and that's when Bill starts to build up being suspicious, almost about to whip out a gun. Same goes for Bucky, but yeah, they just make a run for it, the Red Guardian and the Winter Soldier, and that's when they would be chased after. Yeah. That car chase sequence in this episode, that was pretty cool. And especially when seeing Bill Foster get in his Goliath getup in the Ant-Man technology, with the Ant-Man technology, that, you know, that Ant-Man type suit, you know, being Goliath, trying to chase them down. But, well, I mean, eventually, the Red Guardian and the Winter Soldier, they would get away from them, because, yeah, with the Red Guardian just, like, jumping on Bill Foster and using his shield, all that, causing him to trip, just everything that goes on in that sequence, that was pretty good and funny. And eventually they make their way to this canyon, this cliff, and, well, there's not much that they can do. All they can do, and, well, this is what they are about to do. They're about to speed down the line and hopefully get to the other side. You know, kind of going in that same territory, don't you think? I'm pretty sure that's what they were going for, because in something like, say, in Ridley Scott's Thelma and Louise, because you know what I'm talking about. If any of you have seen Thelma and Louise, and even if you haven't, you would still know. Maybe some of you would know what I'm talking about, and I'm pretty sure that's what this episode is referring to. You know, reference to and such. Anyways. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, they didn't make it to the other side. The car did end up crashing, but they still survived. Of course they did. But eventually, they would still make their way to Las Vegas, even when, you know, say, Bill and the Ranger would know where they're heading to next. And yeah, by seeing Bucky and Alexei, that being the Red Guardian's real name, make their way to Las Vegas, and when they make their way to a hotel, they come face-to-face with the spy who goes by Rook. It's actually Obadiah Stane. Yes, Stane, yeah. The first villain of the MCU from the first Iron Man film, Jeff Bridges. And unfortunately, it's not Jeff Bridges who reprises the role of Obadiah. Obadiah being voiced by Kif Vanden Heuvel, if I got his last name right. And yeah, I mean, he did a pretty good job voicing Obadiah. A not bad impression on Jeff Bridges. And the fact that this is a slightly younger version of Obadiah, where, yeah, because he had brown in his beard, you know, and on account that this episode takes place in 1991. And it wouldn't take too long for Alexei and Bucky to realize that Obadiah is not who he seems, and he never was, as we all know, because, yeah, turns out that, and with what they discovered, that he was responsible for, you know, in league with the Russians, informing the Russians about, you know, the serum and on account of eliminating the Starks and all that, so, yeah. And, well, when it came to Obadiah, like, opening fire at them, well, the Winter Soldier would take care of Obadiah by having him crash through the hotel room window. and falling to his death. I mean, he landed in the hotel's pool, but he still died. So, yeah, in this universe, that's when Obadiah meets his demise, not in the events of the first Iron Man film, where he took on Tony Stark. He built his own Iron Man suit, as we all know. Anyways, yeah, especially because, to say more about Obadiah's appearance in this, and on account of Kiff's voice performance, again, really good, especially because, as we all know, Obadiah, at times in the first Iron Man film, having quite a bit of a temper, because, you know, I can think of most prominently, Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps. Like, yeah, that kind of rage that Obadiah has. And Kiff doing a pretty good job with that. Of course, because, yeah, it just wouldn't seem right if it wasn't exactly how it was done and with what Jeff Bridges brought to Obadiah. Yeah, so, well done, Kiff. By the way, to talk more about, say, the chemistry between Alexei and Bucky, you know, and their names being going by Red Guardian and Winter Soldier. We know this. Yeah, because the more chemistry we get from them is pretty good. Besides Thunderbolts, an entirely different universe with these two and how they interact. Well, because, you know, a moment where they actually do go, before they went to Las Vegas, they went to a hospital and they patched themselves up, even, you know, each of them helping out one another. Well, yeah, Alexei helping out Bucky most prominently with his injuries. And, you know, it's talked about because, you know, that Bucky can't remember who he is or where he came from, but Alexei knows that this is completely not the case, and that, yeah, Bucky is someone. He came from somewhere and all that, and he has Bucky close his eyes to try to remember and see what he could remember years ago. And when Bucky does so, it's blurry at first, but then he starts to see something. Coney Island. And yes, that's when the Red Guardian refers to Bucky as the soldier of, you know, Coney Island. Well, it's true. So, yeah, so that's one of the earliest things that came from Bucky, and, you know, long before, say, he became the Winter Soldier. Yeah, just, yeah, good on Alexei / the Red Guardian for managing to, you know, work his way into having the goodness come back into Bucky, you know what I'm saying? Not being, you know, condemned by the Winter Soldier, all that, you know what I'm saying? Just, yeah. However, there was at one point, and after the Red Guardian left the room, the Winter Soldier got a private call from the General Dreykov, yeah. And General Dreykov, I didn't mention the voice actor, Piotr Michael, if I got the first name right or wrong, but again, you know me sometimes. Yeah, so Dreykov calls up the Winter Soldier to secretly kill the Red Guardian. And, well, I mean, I think by this point, the Winter Soldier is going to find that very difficult to do so. Yeah. But, yeah, and as was mentioned about what happens in Vegas, and up to when, yeah, eventually the reinforcements would step in, as well as Bill Foster and the Ranger, you know, witnessing the crime scene of, you know, Obadiah having fallen to his death. You know, again, we saw him land in the pool, but then I presume the reinforcements, they took him out of the pool, I guess. Yeah, but it wouldn't take too long for, like, them to notice that the Red Guardian and the Winter Soldier, they're on the run. They jumped out of the same hotel room, you know, with the windows broken, sliding down on the side of the building, and yeah, they would land on the surface, the ground, and they would proceed making a run for it. And with Bill, the Ranger, trying to chase after them, and they go through this casino, and Bucky, he actually whips out his guns, shooting at the casino, game pieces, all that, you know what I'm talking about. Basically unleashing a lot of coins and all that, you know, money, you know, which that gets a lot of people's attention. And, geez, even the Ranger, what's with her? Because, like, damn, girl, because a bit of greediness got into you, because with getting all that money and such, and you put in your Ranger's hat. Yeah. But then, of course, well, Bill Foster, once again, getting in his Goliath getup and once again trying to chase after the Winter Soldier and the Red Guardian, which, yeah, this time they're running on foot through the city and on the road. Oh, and also, can't forget to mention that not only did the reinforcements show up at Vegas, but also a task force from the Red Room, yeah, sent specifically to take them down. But up to the climax, and with what's left of the serum and getting rid of it, well, because, yeah, even when, say, you know, they are inside this building, and they are targeted, they have no way of avoiding this, yeah, because we then see Vasily Karpov, being voiced by Gene Farber, who comes in, the Russians, you know, the task force, you know, and Karpov with the book, about to read the words that will trigger the Winter Soldier. And, well, the Winter Soldier, he's trying to fight it, but warning Alexei to just get out of there, because when he tells Alexei that, you know, Bucky was ordered to kill him, but Alexei, he takes this well and knows that that's not Bucky, because, yeah, he's got to fight it and all that. And eventually, and even after all the words that Karpov said, Bucky managed to snap out of it, not be under mind control and acting as an evil version of the Winter Soldier. Yeah. And with the reinforcements stepping in, taking on the task force, and, well, the Red Guardian and the Winter Soldier stepping in, well, even after all that, sometime later, we would see Bucky back at Hydra, and he confirms to General Dreykov that Alexei / the Red Guardian is dead. But I'm pretty sure Dreykov's not really buying it, and that's when they start to mess with his mind that we saw before, but obviously we know that Bucky's going to manage this, even if it's Bucky from a different universe. And, you know, in this universe, in this episode, yeah. And later on, for Alexei, now still in America, we at one point see him as a dodgeball coach, and he's kind of not doing pretty well with the students, you know, for dodgeball. But later on, Bill Foster would approach Alexei and, you know, proposes to Alexei to, you know, work for the good and, you know, for the United States and all of that, and which would lead Alexei, and when he accepts, he would become a member of the Avengers, and 20 years later, we would see him in action alongside with the first group of Avengers, the Battle of New York. Yeah, he's right there, and having his own shield being right there next to Captain America. What a great way to end off that episode, definitely. And of course, with the closing narration of the Watcher, yep. And just, yeah, and moments with the Watcher, him, of course, because he's witnessing all that's going on in this episode, you know, with the cutaways and all that, seeing the different reactions to each of those characters. You know what I'm talking about, just, yeah, that was great. But yeah, just overall, Episode 3, the third episode of the third and final season of What If? What if the Red Guardian stopped the Winter Soldier? It was another really good episode, and especially in my opinion. This episode, setting entirely on both the Red Guardian and the Winter Soldier. And, you know, the chemistry that each of them have in this, and, you know, because the fact that both of them, they're two Soviet agents, and how eventually, and especially it's thanks to the Red Guardian, managing to get Bucky to wake up and snap out of it, no longer be under the control and doing evil stuff for them, you know? And even when the Red Guardian, he prevented the Winter Soldier from killing the Starks, like, yeah, that never happened. The appearance of Obadiah, Bill Foster, American Ferrera, you know, as the Ranger, all of that, and just everything that was going on in this episode, centering on the Red Guardian and the Winter Soldier, it was really good. And again, this being one of the first 3 episodes of Season 3, that is one of my favorites. Yeah. And the other episodes that come in for the rest of this season, because I knew from the beginning and what we were going to get for the third and final season. I was like, oh yeah, I can guarantee you these are probably going to be some of my favorite episodes. But until I get to them, yeah. But yeah, just overall, the first 3 episodes for Season 3 of What If, they were really good. What if the Hulk fought the Mech Avengers? What if Agatha went to Hollywood? What if the Red Guardian stopped the Winter Soldier? In my opinion, they were really good. And I'm sure you would feel the same way too. And yeah. And with that being said, what about you guys? What did you think of the first 3 episodes that started off Season 3 of Marvel's What If? Which of the first 3 episodes were your favorites? Or if you enjoyed all 3 of them? And yeah, by now, what did you think of the entirety of Season 3 itself? Yeah. Which were some of your favorite episodes? Which of these episodes were you looking forward to seeing the most? And on account of whom was going to be paired with whom? You get my point. Favorite moments to come from the first 3 episodes? Did you get some good laughs and just found it really awesome? And, on account of the beautiful, amazing animation, the chemistry from each of these characters in the first 3 episodes. Just, yeah, overall, what did you think of the first 3 episodes of the 3rd and final season of Marvel's What If, with what all I've had to say, my Part 1 review of Season 3 of What If, what did you think of my Part 1 review? Yeah, leave comments and give this review video a like, as always. And so, guys, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my Part 1 review of Season 3 of Marvel's What If, Episodes 1, 2, and 3. More review videos are coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I will see you guys in the next video / review. Take care, and, well, stay tuned for my Part 2 review of Season 3 of What If, Episodes 4, 5, and 6. Peace out, and Avengers, assemble.